Alright, hey guys, today is Thursday, May 7th, and so what we're going to do today is you'll have a quiz, and so I'm just going to go over the quiz a little bit with you, and then y'all can take that, that'll be all we do today. And so, number 1 and 2 on the quiz, they say use the reciprocal ratios to find the following. And so what you're going to do is you're going to plug in the reciprocal, and so remember that cosecant is going to be 1 over sine, secant is going to be 1 over cosine, and then cosecant is going to be 1 over sine, and then cotangent is going to be basically 1 over tangent. And so I made one up over here, I did cosecant of 30, and so cosecant of 30, instead of using the cosecant, I'm going to use its reciprocal, and so cosecant is 1 over sine, so I'll do 1 over sine of 30. Okay, so the question is, what is the sine of 30? Well, you have a few different ways you can come up with that. You can use your triangle, and remember to do the triangle. Opposite for 30 degrees, opposite of 30 is going to be your x, or 1, for the base triangle, and then your hypotenuse would be 2. And then your adjacent is going to be the square root of 3. And so that is going to be how you set that up. Remember, for 45, 45, it's 1, 1, and then square root of 2 for the hypotenuse. And so that's one way you can do it. So then you're going to do opposite over hypotenuse. And so opposite is 1, hypotenuse is 2. So that tells you that sine of 30 is 1/2. So it would be 1 over 1/2. Opposite is 1, hypotenuse is 2, so 1 over 2. So that was one way to do it. The other way to do it, you could do hand trig. And so hand trig, remember, is 30 would be the first one down, and then the left is sine, the right is cosine. Your palm's always a 2, and so you would do the 1 would be 1 over the palm of 2 for the sine of 30. So that'd be another quick way to do it. So I end up with 1 over 1/2. Then you just have to clean that up algebraically. So the 1/2 is the problem denominator. So you can multiply the reciprocal, and so it'd be 1 times 2. And so you'd end up with an answer of 2 for that one. And so that is going to be how you work those through. And then 3 and 4. 3 and 4, they give you the actual triangle. And so you're going to use the triangle and set up your function. And so, for example, I'll do number 3, but a little bit differently. So 3 has something like this. We have 32, so I'll make it 40, just to take it simple. And then I'll say 17. I'll leave that as 17. And there's the right angle. And so that's basically what you have. And so again, I want to figure out what trig function gives me correspondence with this. And so you would just have to try to think about that through. It gives you the hypotenuse. And so they want you to find all the measurements, D and AC and DC. And so basically we're just going to set it up where, okay, if I'm looking for this one, that's what I'm looking for, this side right here, then what would it be? What trig function would allow me to do that? Well, this one right here would be adjacent over hypotenuse. So I would do adjacent over hypotenuse is cosine. So I would do cosine of 40 equals x over 17, and then solve for x. And so you would either use your calculator or use the table in the back, the table they give you there. So they give you the table on the actual page. So use the table to figure that out. Then use your algebra. So I would multiply by 17, get it over here. Okay, if I was looking for the side over here, and the side over there is going to say it's y. So which trig function would allow me to do that? That one would be opposite over hypotenuse. So it would be sine of x, or sine of 40, equals y over 17. And so again, multiply by 17, use the table. And so that's going to be how you work those through. Number 5 works the same way, only they give you different information. To figure out what this missing angle is, that's easy. You would just take 90 plus 40 and subtract from 180. And so these two added together minus 180 will give you the missing angle. So that's straightforward. All right. For number 5 and 6, you're just using the trig identities. So you're trying to get the left to look like the right. And so what's really important for this is that you remember what tangent is and what, and you got to remember that cosine squared of x plus sine squared of x equals 1. Now, you can move that around a little bit. So this right here is the base one, but I can move that around to where all they give me is sine squared, and I need to get rid of it. So if they give me sine squared of x, I need to get rid of that. Then sine squared of x would be equal to, I would have to just subtract cosine over, and so it would be 1 minus cosine squared of x. So sine squared of x equals 1 minus cosine squared of x, because you just subtract over the cosine squared of x. Similarly, if they just give you cosine squared of x, then that would be equal to, I have to subtract the sine squared over, and so it would be 1 minus sine squared of x. And so this is the base one. So if they give them two together, it equals 1. But if they just give you one or the other, it's 1 minus the one they don't give you. And so you can use that to plug in and see what cancels with different stuff. And so this right here, these two right here are going to be important for the two you have to do. And so outside of that, I think you should be able to do it. Just remember your trig identities that you know, and that should be straightforward. So that'll be today. Just do the quiz. If you have any questions, you can get up with me and I can kind of see what the issue is, but that'll be all we do today. So hope you have a good day.